I have been wanting to do this one for a while now. 5 Total War titles that we will probably never see. These are here because they are either too controversial or they would simply not work as a Total War game. Basic rules are it must be a historical period that could be considered. For example, I cannot have Vacuum Cleaner Total War, as that's never going to happen. These are titles that could fit in some way, but they probably never will exist. To start this off, I've gone for Crusades Total War, or in a similar way, Rise of Islam. Now, need I say more? Now, I am not saying these eras will never be covered. We may see the Rise of Islam or the Crusades again in medieval Total War games. However, they will never have a focus on the title, as in literally Crusades Total War, as that would draw too much attention and backlash from both sides. Now, I don't talk politics on this channel, ever, but what I will say is this. The history of religion was not just an incredibly brutal one, but also a long one, which is still going on to this day, even though the events started around 1000 years ago and further, and that obviously is where the game will be set. It still in some areas has a too soon mentality. Not only that, but there's also people who will abuse the game on the other side and use it to fuel their own aggressiveness. The devs do kind of have to be careful. Either way, it's a touchy subject that even I don't want to get into, so I don't see any chance in a game being dedicated to it, made by the Creative Assembly. But I do think we will see the events in other titles, like Medieval 3, showing these events as part of a wider historical era. I think they could get away with that. Okay, less of a controversial one now, but for 4th I have put Mongol Total War. This is often suggested, but I don't think we will ever see it. Why? Well, let's take a look at the Mongol Empire. It stretches into Europe during medieval times. If the devs were to make a Mongol game, then I want the full Mongolian Empire experience, not just limited to Mongols invading China. I want to see Europe and Asia, is what I'm trying to say. And so, to truly make a full Mongol Total War game, what you need to do is make a Medieval 3, but a Medieval 3 that includes all of Asia, which, given current technology, this they can do. So yes, like for Crusades, I don't think we will see this as its own game, and rather it will be just a major part of Medieval 3. If Mongol was to release, then I see it killing quite a bit of hype for Medieval 3. Why do I believe this? Well, when I was 13 to 16, I actually used to be a modder for Civilization 3. Never made any of my works public, but looking back, for my age, I was actually really good at modding that game. But into the story, I began making a Mongol mod, but midway through my project, I realised it was more just a medieval era mod with 2 theatres, East and West, or Europe and Asia. I then gradually turned it into a medieval game with feudalism and crusades in Europe, which just happened to feature the Mongols, who will also usually win in the East and make their way into Europe. Number 3. Back to the controversy. American Civil War Total War. Oh, hold on. We can do the name better here. American Total Civil War. No, that's terrible. It just is not going to happen. Certainly not right now. And again, I believe this is just going to be a political issue for both sides. Of course, there will be people who could play it and have fun, but the Creative Assembly will be fighting a war on two fronts, having to deal with two extremes who will be constantly trying to sway the devs to favour one side. This does happen. Does not matter how they portray the game, there will always be people who see their faction being portrayed incorrectly. I am not a fan of American history, but even I would like to see this. I just don't think we will as a title, and probably not as a DLC. One honourable mention now, and I've gone with Thrones of Britannia 2. Nope, we are never seeing that. What a joke of a game. In second place on this list, I went and put modern warfare titles that go from the Second World War and onwards, and not due to controversy, but because I don't see it being possible. Total War is a game about large squads and columns in battle, but the Second World War had really moved away from that. It just would not work from a historical perspective, and if they wanted it to work, it would be so far out of the Total War formula that they might as well just give it another name and not have it as Total War at all. World War I, I think, is the latest historical title they could cover and have it work, but even that would be difficult to do and would feel out of place at times. And here we are with first place. The Total War title, in my opinion, we will never ever see. Many people, however, do claim that this is a game they want. And guess what? It's not controversial at all. Stone Age Total War. A lot of people do say they want this, but I just don't think it's going to happen. The reason why it's first is not because it's any less likely to happen. I don't think any of these are gonna happen, but because it does actually have a bit of demand behind it. I make some videos at times looking into the future of Total War titles and what we want. Stone Age does actually come up more than you would think. Now, I am not saying there will never be a game that covers the Stone Age. CA could make one that starts in the Stone Age and progresses into different eras over time, like Civilization. What I am saying is a Stone Age dedicated game I cannot see happening. The era just had too small populations, not enough battles historically that we know of, and would just feel weird. Also, limited weapons would be available, making the game feel less replayable, and a lot of copy and pasted units would be present. If they were to create this game, then I feel they would have to move away a fair bit from historical accuracy to make it bearable. And that is all for this list. I hope you enjoyed it. I really tried to get a variety of different eras, different types of titles, and different reasons why they would not be included. Not just have a list of 5 controversial games, or a list of 5 wars that happened after the Second World War, like Second World War, Vietnam, modern warfare stuff, all of that. That would have been far too easy. However, let me know if there's any other historical titles out there that could be possible for Total War, but you never think would happen, ever. Let me know. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I am MELKOR, and I hope you stay a part of the channel for regular top 5s and history videos about Total War. But for now, and until tomorrow, goodbye.